Guys, I hope you are excited as I am because we're gonna go drifting. Multi-drifting! With CDRomatron and Densha the D, the burning stage. I am very sorry, people
we
of
good?
the world.
I'll wait, you got that fixed. We good?
Alright, I think it's fixed.
Okay, let's do this.
So, I am ready when you are.
Okay, I'll just give a countdown for when it starts. So let's just do this old style RTA timing. So I'll go and go. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Densha the Burning Stage this time around. So, how many people here were here last time we played Lightning Stage?
Me, because I carried you.
Okay, so we got some. So we got some people. So, this is train racing. So, where to start? So this is based off a surprisingly long-running manga series, which is a parody of Initial D, a slightly more serious manga about car racing. But it's basically the whole story just retold, but with trains instead. So, last time we were here, we played the first 4 chapters. So the game's essentially every level is a chapter of the manga. Last time we did chapters 1 through 4. I'll summarize this in a bit, and this time we're going to be doing chapters 5 through 10. So, to summarize our character quickly, I'm useless with the names, so I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce them. But essentially, we're this high school kid who we just really enjoyed driving our dad's train, and our dad decided to convince us to join the underground train racing circuit. So here we are. Our first race in the first chapter was against one of the 2 fastest racers in a group originally known as the Red Suns, and we eventually managed to beat him in a race, and it's all spectacular, and everyone's like, whoa, he's way better than everyone thought he was. So after that, we went and raced the leader of a rival gang, the Night Kids, and we beat him. After that, we raced against Shingo, who's the only one whose name I can really remember. He's the second fastest rider in the Night Kids, but he played really dirty and tried to knock us off the track and even tried to kill us in the final turn. This time, we are... and at the final chapter, we raced against the fastest member of the Red Suns, so the other guy's brother. So here we want to kind of wait up for them a little bit and get a boost off them. So what we're doing there was, by getting in front of them and letting the opponent just bash into us, we can make our speed counter go way higher than it's supposed to be. So we can use this to just ride out the speed. This game functions a lot similar to a lot of old racing games and platformers, where you have a speed cap. However, that speed cap is only enforced when you're holding down the accelerator. So as long as I don't push the accelerator, we can keep going faster than intended, and that allows us to skip a lot of cutscenes and various other things. So as far as controls are concerned, we just have accelerating, braking, emergency braking, and drifting left and right. So the advantage of drifting is that we can go around corners really quickly without any concern as to falling off. However, it has the disadvantage of, if the 2 tracks diverge from each other, then our train will completely derail and we'll need to redo the level. So luckily I do know where all those bits are, so I just need to watch out. There's also these bits where there's little guardrails on them, and those are fine. Those just slow us down a little bit, just because of little animation. So we're doing glitchless. We were doing glitches last time. To explain what the glitches are this time, it essentially revolves a lot around us using the opponent's train to bump us to significantly faster than intended speeds, and also allowing us to skip a lot of dialogue. So these races are usually really scripted in terms of your opponent keeping up with you. However, because we're going so much faster, like the opponent is way further behind us than they should be. So none of the cutscenes are triggering. So I need to watch out here. Is it possible? There we go. Good? Yes, we're good. Okay. So as you see there, the other track went way to the left, so if we were still multi-tracking there, then we would be so far derailed. So this is the longest level in the game. It takes about 10 minutes total, just below. And a lot of it comes down to, it doesn't seem like there's too much going on. That's usually just because during standard gameplay, there's a lot of cutscenes going on. To explain what's happening in this chapter, so in Initial D, I'll explain on that because this story doesn't diverge too much from it, but essentially the story is that one of the main characters on the main characters team, he finds this girl who's at the side of the road and her car's broken down, and he helps her fix it. Because she was a little bit clueless when it came to working it all out. And what happened was she ended up being part of a duo who were the fastest team on a different circuit, on a different mountain pass. So the whole story of this was, we're racing them, but this is the first time we've ever seen the track. Oh, and we slightly derailed there, so we just need to wait for our train to get back on. So we have a few indicators along the top. You'll notice we have 8 different blocks, and they're all numbered and all colored green at the moment. What those signify is the current state of our train. So a green signifies that we are A-OK. Yellow means that we are, we're not quite derailed, but we're definitely getting there. Red is completely separated from the tracks, and blue means that we're going across 2 tracks. And if it's kind of faded out, then that means that it's completely derailed and no longer part of the train. Because a train cart that is completely derailed can recover to an extent. So depending on how you derail, you can get what's known as the self-fulfilled impossibility, which is when the train is so far detached that the train can no longer recover back onto the train tracks by itself. So hopefully we don't get any of those, because those are major time losses. Yeah. Fast trains. So a lot of the stations in this are kind of like mirroring what are usually the corners in Initial D. So usually when you see bystanders in Initial D, they're all waiting by the various corners, and they're all excited to see the cars go by. Here it's people waiting at the station to see them come by.
I can't imagine Glasgow suffering.
So we need to slow down here because the tracks are going to divert.
I've got a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Does your train have passengers on board, and are you affecting their safety?
Sometimes. So there's no passengers on this train. However, in one of the bonus trains in the original game, it was not capable of drifting, but it could lean by getting the passengers to stick their arms out the window. Unfortunately, we never actually saw it because it's not part of the main story, but that is a thing. I think it appears in one of the later games as well, so if I ever learn those, then hey, we can run those. Yeah, we're approaching the end of the stage here. There's supposed to just be a lot of cutscenes going on here. And there's there was supposed to be a really cool cutscene in the bit that's coming up, where for the first time in the game series, we see an opponent being able to multi-track drift, which, I don't know, to me that kind of is actually a really cool moment to see, but I guess we're not going to see that. Mostly because you need to wait for a while after the cutscene starts, and then you've got a whole a racing segment against them as well. However, by doing this, they are nowhere to be seen. So we just need to ride this out until we hit the end level trigger, which is going to be coming up shortly. So yeah, there's nothing to watch out for now. I can just drift all the way to the end. Oh. Oh no, that didn't just happen. Oh. Oh. Am I gonna hit the end of level trigger before it? No, that's not just... Okay. We're gonna need to redo that. Crap. Not sure what happened there. So, the physics in this game are an adventure at best. And... oh dear. Okay. I've not seen that happen before. So, there's a strat which has been playing around with recently, which I was trying to do at the end there, which is snaking back and forth between two lines. And I'm not quite sure what happened there, but the train decided to do a full 180. So, yeah, I'm gonna do my best to catch up. So, I set the estimate about 10 minutes higher than what I needed. And we lost like 10 minutes there. So, okay. We're gonna catch up. Right, so I'm gonna focus to make sure this all goes from here on out. I always have the worst look at this game at marathons. Like, every single time I run like one of these train games at marathons, I always find some new way to do a self-propelled impossibility, which we didn't know of before. During a recent 100 D-Gen dash, we found a corner which normally is 100% safe, but apparently if you go very slightly too fast, you don't just derail like you normally do in the game, it's a complete self-propelled impossibility. So, we've been learning a lot about this game, and not much of it is fun. For now. Good. There we go. Okay, we got... catch up to where we were. So part 7 is going across 2 tracks. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Okay, cool, that fixed it. Okay. Train 7 is now on the... no, going across 2 rails. We're working it. We'll make this work, though. We'll make this work. So what's this one?
Oh no. We have €6.90 from someone who has lost the money. What do you want me to do? Same one again? Let's go.
First thing, how fast? Okay, so we're actually running this at full 60 minutes. It would actually be a little... yeah, this... I'm thinking about the time I usually get in these stages, and a lot of it's affected by the fact that the game's speed runs relative to frame rate. So if it's running sub 60, then your game is just running slower than it should be. And traditionally I run this game at around about like 50 to 55. So, should be fine. It'll actually be a bit faster than I am normally. Probably through very quickly with this level now.
I don't know.
So I was gonna, I might as well mention now. So these games were previously really hard to get a hold of, but as of the past few weeks, these games have been significantly easier to get. So previously, to get these games, you did need to order them from Japan, from the guy directly, and there were a few sites you could buy them through, but all of them only shipped within Japan. However, recently the developers agreed to put them on digital download, so now anyone can buy I think it's the first game that's just up for digital download now, and he's working on getting the second game available for digital download. So the real way is if people are interested in this game and want to try to pick it up, it's just a fun game in general, to be honest. Just to keep mentioning that people like this game and that people are interested in getting this game, because there are a lot of there are a good few of these games. There's 4 in total, with a 5th one apparently coming in 2019, I've heard. So that should be a lot of fun. But yeah.
Hugh says, well, I know what my next speaking.
Okay. Alright, I won't try the sneaking thing again. I'll just run normally. Make a note that that can happen. It's just like anti-marathon luck. You just find stuff which just is not helpful at all. Oh no, I wasn't the first, was I? Oh no. I'll never forget that the first time I found something that was a real hindrance during a marathon run was during a run of Crash of the Titans Game Boy Advance. We found you could skip a load trigger, which caused none of the enemies to spawn, and the end of the level didn't spawn, and there's no quick way of resetting all that. Furthermore, we didn't even know that was possible, so we've spent like 5 minutes being very confused.
Also,
What? Right, so we're just approaching the end of this level again. Should be good. 10-minute deficit, you know. We'll do this. We got this, lads. No worries.
Might as well perform. I'm in the corner again. Just a hand.
No. Let's not do that ever again. Of course. What's this? Not safe about this. I really don't trust drifting anymore during this segment. I just feel so unsafe in doing this. It's so risky. Okay, it should be the end of the level trigger coming up like here. All these stations look the same. Here? Oh no, it's here. Okay, cool. Whoa! Got through! Chapter 5.
Now, on to the second stage.
So, don't worry, from here on out, all the levels are relatively short, each are like 3 to 5 minutes. So this is the second race, so we can actually have control before the cutscene even ends. So in this race, we play as Ryusuke, who was the person we actually raced in the first race of the first game. And we're racing against Nakazato, who's the person we raced in the second race. We're going to do our best to catch. Oh, we got ahead. And we're going to do a similar boost to what we did last time. Luckily, this train only has 2 carts, so we didn't need to worry too much about the carts behind us. So what we do here is we bump his train, and what that does is it hits him off slightly. Oh, almost. Second thing derailed. So if your second cart derails, it causes your first... It limits the speed you can actually go at. So we can do this to catch him. Landed on him there. Should be good. There we go. And if I wait for him, get a boost. Oh. Boost. There we go. Now we can maintain that speed for the rest of the race. And Nakazato should no longer be a concern. Yeah, he's miles behind us now. It's plain dirty, I know. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately the glitches do result in all of the cutscenes being no longer there. There's not too much to this level. This race isn't particularly important or have any real relevance to the story. It's just kind of settling a grudge between these two guys. Yeah, now we just need to ride this one out. So this level's relatively short. I think it's around about 4 minutes. And we've already got through a lot of that. And the boost just makes it shorter. So, although this game does have a lot of downtime, it is quite nice that at least the music's good. Because, like, if this game didn't have too much to listen to, it would be pretty crap. So, like, there wouldn't be too much to do. No, I think we're good. I think we can all hear it. But, so, one of the main significant points of this race is that it's now raining. And in Initial D, that kind of means that maybe that's a bit loud. But yeah, so it started raining, and in Initial D, essentially what happens here is that one of the rookie members of the, I believe it's the Night Kids, who's going to be who we're racing against next, and he practices almost exclusively in the rain. And he claims, like, you know, even though he's not the fastest of the Night Kids, he's the fastest in, like, the rainy weather. And in this time, Takumi, the person we're playing as, not in this race, but in all the others, he is currently undefeated in terms of people challenging him. So he wants to essentially take him on in his own turf of the rain. So that's most of the setup. So should be approaching the end of this level relatively shortly. Should be a station just coming up. Why not?
Don't understand it.
So I've learned a lot of fun things about this since last time. Apparently, at least the manga, I'm not sure how accurate it is on the video game, but for Initial D, all of like the courses are like, you know, they've taken actual mountains in Japan and remade them into the courses. Apparently, at least in the manga, with the diagram they give, is an actual train line in Japan. I'm not sure how well that translates to the game, but yeah, there we go. There is that chapter done. Okay, chapter 7. So, as I mentioned, this one is a rain that takes place in the race, in the rain. So yeah, all the cutscenes in this game take the form of manga panels. As I mentioned, this game is based off a manga, so all the cutscenes are just taken from that. Speaking of the manga is surprisingly long. It's about 40 chapters or so at the moment, and it's currently in the process of being translated. So thanks to the people working on that. I'm not sure how much I should talk about names, but there's some fantastic people working behind the scenes to get things translated and can be found online. Yeah, so this guy, he is going to be shooting far away from us. And what we've done here is, in the cutscene, you'll notice that there's a dude talking who doesn't look like the guy who's been talking in every other cutscene. This is basically our childhood friend who we've asked to be in the train with us during this race. Now, in Initial D, he's essentially asked him to sit in the back of the car to add a bit of force, a bit of weight to the back of the car to have better handling. How this helps a train is to be seen, but yeah. So when I was playing this game blind, this race did take me a while, because similar to how in the final race of the last game, you needed to do emergency brake at a station for the game to actually allow you to win, in this race, you need to be drifting through the tunnel. So I just need to watch out for the tunnel. And this is one of the shorter races, so should be through this relatively soon. And then we don't actually really need to worry about catching up with the opponent, we just need to match his speed. Which, even though he's miles ahead, we'll be doing pretty quickly. Okay, we're in. So we're in the tunnel now. Now we just need to wait to leave the tunnel and we'll get a special cutscene. And we'll just kind of see, because in the original thing, it's like everyone's screaming because he's taking the corner super wide. And in this, apparently it's just terrifying, the sight of this. And it's just kind of like, how is he going so fast out of that tunnel? No one was expecting that. Oh. We landed! Start the landing, lads. We did it. And yeah, our friend is, he's not enjoying himself. Yeah, now we just need to catch up with the train. There we go. And we can skip cutscenes. We're good. So that was chapter 8, I believe? Or no, that was chapter 7. Chapter 8. So this is a member of a different gang known as Emperor, and this guy drives Mitsubishi Evo in the anime, and here he has a train which I also believe is an Evo model. But yeah, so for those who were here last time, you'll recognize this is actually the same track that we were driving on before. The reason why in the first game we drove on the same track like 3 different times was because the first few bits of the anime and manga are all based on the same circuit. However, it's only after that where the main character kind of branches out. So the story does follow a bit of a different series of events. The final chapter from the first game actually is like only the end of the season, which is only happening like after that last race we did. And this is part of second stage, which is a lot further into the show. So we actually want to get over to the other track soon. We'll be doing that after a corner where I need to stick to my own side. It'll be coming up very shortly. Yeah, he has a puppet. I'm not sure what's up with the puppet. I'm kind of hoping someone's gonna be able to translate that, because I've looked up like character references of like, you know, what purpose every character serves in the show of Initial D, and I can't find anything that represents the puppet. And currently I am just very confused, and I would look very forward to an explanation. So here he comes. So I'm actually going to drift onto his track and let him boost me there. And that's just kind of going to destroy a lot of my carts. But that's okay, because it's going to get to the front and it's going to boost us. So you notice that our cart is having difficulties. So it says that 1 and 2 are there, 3 is just missing, 4 is flashing various colors, but the rest is fine. Yeah, the game doesn't really like it when you drift into the opponent's train, especially with the carts that are not the first cart, because then it gets very confused. So we got quite lucky, and it wasn't the second cart wasn't affected. The second cart's really the only one that's particularly relevant. Although if any of these carts were stuck in a multi-track, we would constantly be getting cutscenes of that cart shooting off in the distance, doing flips. Luckily that was not the case. So we can just kind of ride this out. So we're essentially having 3 races against this guy. So we have this race and then the 2 more chapters to follow. Let's go down here. There we go. Yeah, so there was all our tracks, trains that were just like flying to the end. So they've just essentially collided into the end of the stage. So now we just need to finish up. Yeah, 4 is still in purgatory apparently. We'll just have the 2 here. Coming up to the end of here soon. I love this corner, it feels so fast. Oh yeah, no, that fourth carriage is having difficulties. You know, that's a fantastic question. I don't know where it is. It's not at us. So yeah, so this is the end. Here. From here. It's good. And now we can just ride this out to the station. In this game, 6. Okay, there we go.
Chapter 7 stage.
Well, okay, so so every level in this is a single chapter of the manga. So the first game covered chapters 1 through 4. So those were the 4 levels we played there. Then the 6 levels we're playing here are the next 6 chapters. So chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10. So this is our second race against this guy, and in my opinion, it has the best music. I originally thought it was Night of Fire, but apparently I was just completely wrong. It's a song called Redline, it's fantastic. This is a forest loss race, so I'm just going to concentrate and do my best at like keeping up pace with them and enjoy the music.
ペースを上げやがった。どうする？少しペースを上げるか。俺らしくない。答えは初めから決まってるはずだ。ペースを変えたりはしない。ここでカッとなってチャージするのは愚の骨頂だぜ。おそらく政治はそういう巻き方をしたはずだ。普通のことを普通にこなして勝つのみ。初めて繰り出すフェイントモーションからのこのアグレッシブなドリフトは俺が勝負を決めに行くという意思表示だぜ。お世辞にも長いストレートとは言えないがポンコツを振り切るには十分だ。終わりだ。アバヨ2000。
Okay, so there's the end of that level. So we could quit out and the level is technically finished, however I do need to wait. So even though I can quit out the level, the game isn't particularly good at remembering what state you're in. So you notice that we're in a cutscene where the game is running like, it looks like it's like slow-mo mode. So if we were to quit out the level now, and just keep the game running, then the game will be in slow-mo mode. So from here on out, the game would be running in slow motion, which of course we do not want. But yeah, we're moving to the final chapter now, chapter 10. There's a major glitch here, and hopefully we get this quickly because that 10-minute leeway estimate was for that. So basically, our train broke down, and we're a bit disheartened, but we got a new train. So if you didn't get it. Okay, so this probably can take a few attempts. So basically what we're trying to do is embed into his train at the very... Luckily this is all at the very beginning. So we can just keep trying this. Once we get this, it'll take 3 minutes to beat this level. To get a sense of scale, the level usually takes 10 minutes, so you know, you can fail this a bunch of times and it's still worth it. Almost. I just need to focus on my timing. Almost. have a few visual cues, but unfortunately, just because of how fast everything's going, it can be quite inconsistent.
What's supposed to happen when you get it?
Oh, you'll see. Oh, you will see what happens when we get this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's a reason I brought sunglasses, because this is about to get pretty bright. So, we have clashed into a train. So you'll see our speedometer is going crazy. So we're derailed, so we need to wait for our train to get back on the rail. Get it back on the rail, there we go. So now wait for the shunt. And our speedometer is going to go crazy. So we can actually take the speedometer all the way to, I think it's in the realms of 2,200 kilometers an hour. That's when the game crashes. However, when you're above, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm hitting the accelerator, which brings us back down to the speed cap. The reason I'm doing this is because if you just go max speed throughout the entire level, you will miss all of the load triggers and all of the cutscene triggers. And that will cause the level to never actually load the end of level trigger. So I basically need to make sure I'm always hitting the accelerator whenever we hit 900 kilometers an hour. But yeah, this is the whip on this, by the way. Time will come up as soon as like the race is finished, which will be like when the old UI disappears. Will be coming from second. Yeah, we're still at the stations popping up. Difficulties. Difficulties. There we go. Time. We failed the first level. We still were underestimated. Whoa! Didn't fail. I was really scared about the estimate near the end. So there's a bit where this guy just kind of gives up and he does that thumb trick. Yeah. And he saws his puppet in half. And maybe one day I'll understand what's going on here, but today is not that day. And that's Burning Stage. There's no credits, there's no finale this time, it's just we finished. So yeah, thank you guys for having me for that. It was fun, aside from having to do level 1 twice.